Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com. And we're going to talk about superheroic people. We're going to talk about time travel agencies. We're going to talk about multidimensional variations on a theme. Yes, we're going to talk about the CW's Legends of... Oh, wait, no, that's wrong show. We're going to go switch over, erase all that. Forget I said anything. It's nothing at all like that at all, I assure you. We're going to talk instead about something much cooler than all that. We're going to talk about Loki, the streaming series that's been on Disney Plus, and we're going to do it with me having seen absolutely none of it. So to get past that little hurdle, yeah, because I've got to have somebody who knows something about it, and we have somebody who has seen the entire thing and is ready to speak to it. Please welcome to the stream from the great white north of Canada, and the man behind the Kitchener Comic-Con, Mister Hoppe.
Good day, RJ. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
Well, not too bad. With that opening that you just told your audience, that's some winning enemy stuff, for goodness sakes. Like wow. I didn't realize that we're drenched in so much wonderful pop culture stuff. And we boiled it all down to just talking about Loki and bringing a little old me on your show here.
Well, you know, it's everybody else is talking about it. Everybody else seems to love it. I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm still looking forward to seeing Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or whatever it ends up being the next time.
Yeah. Basically it was billed as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it became Captain America and the Winter Soldier by episode 6. Not to be a nerd or anything else like that. But
did they actually change the title of episode 6?
They did. They did. And you could totally see that in the final end credit of things. So it's like, oh, okay. Because one of the few things that's going on here is that they're definitely using that particular production as a launch pad for Captain America and the Winter Soldier movie that's coming out. Surprise, advertising surprise for the wonderful people at Marvel/Disney. So that makes me now wonder, is Loki perhaps a big advertisement for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? No, not at all. Not at all.
It's just its own thing.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Something's pinging. My sarcasm detector just went off.
There you go. So before we get into things, because I'm very excited to talk about this, how you been, RJ? It's been a while. Last time I talked to you, I was in a medical facility recuperating from a whole bunch of stress as well as other stuff.
And now most of you is out of it.
Yeah, that's right. I had to leave some of me behind, and that was okay, because obviously, leaving, in the hospital, especially with the American healthcare system, you're always leaving an arm and a leg anyways to make payments.
That's right.
So the thing is that here in the great Canuck of Canadianness of hockey pucks, it cost me, a leg, which is fine, because that's what people play in the States. So the way I see it, it's kind of balanced, if you know what I mean. So
you got half the usual cost.
Exactly. They're supposed to take an arm with it as well, but due to my fine, keen negotiation skills, didn't quite go that far. Fingers crossed. I'm falling apart, RJ. I'm falling apart. Oh my gosh.
But by doing that, everything's better now, right?
Well, the things are hopefully getting better. Unfortunately, I've never lived a toxic lifestyle. I lived a geek slash nerd lifestyle, but you know what? I don't do drugs. I don't drink coffee, believe it or not. I don't drink heavily. I drink every once in a while. It's just sometimes when you don't expect it, you just don't win the genetic lottery. And I think that's unfortunate where I'm at with things, because things have gotten very, very dire when I was in the hospital system. And it got to the point that the CBC did a quick article on me. And basically, the CBC is probably equivalent to NBC in the States. And like having three major news outlets, we really only have the one, maybe two.
The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
That's correct. That's correct. And the thing is, it's brought to you by wonderful government money and stuff like that, so forth and so forth. But however, long story short, within a pandemic setting, this took a long time to put together. But the bottom line is that here in my region, unfortunately, of unfortunateness, there isn't really a lot of government housing geared towards individuals who are physically handicapped. Why that is, I don't know. Like, as an example, there's a massive waiting list. If you read over the article, and RJ, if you could throw the link in the description somewhere along the way, that'd be perfect. And basically, long story short, the waiting list consists of 7 years just to get a place. And the thing is that the people on this waiting list is only 6,000 people in length. And with a population of the region of Waterloo, which includes 3 cities, 5 townships, that's like next to nothing. Why this waiting list is here, I don't know.
And plus government housing, you would think all of the government housing would be handicap accessible.
Well, or basically easy to convert or something else along those lines. But I was absolutely shocked when I read the article, because there was other people who were involved with it. There's only like 53 units that are available for individuals who are physically handicapped. And I'm going, what? And then on top of that, basically they want to engage with more physically handicapped units, which is great. But the thing is that it's not enough. Hey, that's me. That's me. That's me.
And that's the picture I took for the background too.
That's awesome. Did you do any photo editing with that? Because I look a little bit happier in the image that you use. I don't know.
There's an app.
You have an app. There's an app for that. Perfect. And also something else I'd like to talk about this article as well is that I have 2 roommates that I currently live with, and one of them, we're not going to say her name because I don't want to give her any more traction. But the thing is that she was really the catalyst toward a lot of disarray, a lot of hardships I was going through. And through this article, Cress Holmes, who's my roommate, she has been nothing but understanding. She has been nothing but encouraging to this whole process of things. But this article is skewed in such a certain way that it kind of sounds like she was being a little misdevious with stuff, but that's not the case. Cress Holmes has been nothing but exemplary towards me, especially through my time of needs and stuff like that. So the thing is that I really want to say thank you to her, because she's did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of until recently, that really, kept my head together. Because again, when you sort of like go through the processes I've been going through the last year or so, it's not an easy process. It isn't. But the thing is that you have to really rely on your friends to get through with stuff. So,
and that's the case all the time with stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But however, the biggest thing I like to focus on this particular article is basically the ratio between individuals who need physically handicapped units or places to live decently versus the other people who are on this thing, and then basically look things a little bit closer. It's only 6,000 people, which completely blows my mind, and that's on a 7-year waiting list, RJ. So I just don't know why this number exists for a waiting period.
So there's because 3,000 units, and 51 of them are accessible.
Yeah, exactly. And then those are the new ones that are coming through, I think. And it's like, or basically that's total. I can't. Is that total, RJ? Because you could read this a little bit better than I can right now.
It says, however, only 51 of Waterloo Region Housing's 3,000 units are considered accessible.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we have such a low number for population of the regional water, and that should be at least a lot more. I almost want to say doubled, but it only brings up to like 100 type of thing. And there's Edward there. He's basically an individual who runs something called KW Accessibility, which he's been fighting against us for the last 30 plus years. So
Wow.
again, that this has been a long trek for some people. Me, I'm still fresh on the scene. As some people know, I'm half German, so I'm very angry very quickly. And basically, long story short, this shouldn't be, and it is. And as I said before in this particular article, I'm basically trying to piece a broken system together with Scotch tape. And the thing is that this is not easy to go through, but it's something I need to do. And
speaking of things that are not easy to go through, here's a picture of
Yeah.
you trying to get in the door.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really, really tough because basically, again, I was going through the system. If I didn't have this place to come back to, I would be honestly in a lot of trouble. And the thing is, again, if it wasn't for Cress Homes, basically making sure my 6 was taken care of, I would probably be in a lot of trouble because my other roommate, the one that was giving me all of the grief, no one really knows how much grief that she was really giving me. And this article really doesn't reflect that. It brought me to the point where I need to talk to like a therapist. I was having nightmares and stuff like that. And the best thing I like to have an update from this is that particular roommate has currently left this unit, and we have a new roommate, and she's very sweet, very caring, very understanding towards things, and I'm very happy to have the two of them as roommates moving forward because that brings my anxiety level a lot more down. And usually I wouldn't focus on stuff like this, but it's just where I'm at right now because usually when it comes to anxiety and stuff like that, I could put it on 2 pieces of bread and eat it for lunch, no problem. But the biggest problem I'm having right now is that, again, there's a lot of anxiety that's going through. As I mentioned before in our pre talks here, I'm don't really view myself as physically disabled because I just don't have that mindset. I am just learning how to do the same things again from in a different way.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, again, it's just going to take a bit of haggling, a little bit of finessing along the way. And at the same time, as this article states, I'm on this waiting list, and it's going to take at least 7 years to get something if I'm lucky.
But
And
at
at
least
the
you got
same
a place to live now.
Yeah, for sure, because basically the system that's set up here is absolutely inadequate for individuals such as myself. I never wish anyone to go through the same system I'm going through right now. Again, it all really comes down to that my region needs to really put more into place for individuals who need help. And that's what it comes down to. So if I was in an event
now, when somebody's pulling your leg, you'll know which one.
Right? In all of my arguments moving forward, I still have a leg to stand on.
Yes, you do.
So we'll focus on the positives, and I'll take that for 100, Alex. So based with all of that, let's talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah, well, let me just say I'm glad you're okay.
I
know you were
really
going through stuff, and I didn't know what it was. I wasn't.
I really appreciate it. Well, I didn't want, and the thing is that I don't want to say I'm a proud person. I'm really an individual who's independent, and I don't like asking for help. I really don't want people's sympathy towards me. I post stuff online to get stuff off my chest a little bit, but that's really about it. Like, as you can tell, I don't have a GoFundMe campaign because I think other people need their money more than giving it to someone like myself. I am very excited moving forward and working with my friends again and bringing Kitchener Comic-Con 2022 to the forefront of things because where we left off, oh gosh, how can I explain this? When I was doing Comic-Con 2020, I was going through something I like to call my second midlife crisis. And the thing is that there was a lot of stress behind the scenes. And at the same time there, I have a very small, a very tiny group of peoples and who I work with, and they've been stretched out to the limit because, we decided to bring Vic in and stuff like that. And that
was the Vic year, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also on top of that, 2020 was our best year as well because we won awards for our event. We have a lot of stuff to hang our hat on, but there was a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, and people just don't understand the level of stress that goes into a convention here in Canada, let alone in the region of Waterloo, because basically in the States, which I really, really dig, when someone's putting an event together, because of the population, the right mindset of or mind like of the individuals, people do come together and they put on a really good event. And you could tell that with Missouri, you could tell that with San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, and the list goes on from there. But here in Canada, it's really, really tough because the thing is that you have a smaller population. There's not a lot of money to go around because everyone's saving up for rent. And due to super duper hyperinflation that has gone up astronomically in the last little while as well. And it's really, really a mess. So the thing is that events here in Canada, as we're south of the border, is really a different environment than it is in the US. And the thing is, I have Vic to come up to my event was really setting the bar really high because again, we're in a regional event initiative. So the thing is that as we like to play with the bigger kids, such as Anime North and Fan Expo Vancouver, Fan Expo Alberta, and the list goes on and on from there. We're really a medium-sized convention. And the thing is that for my team to tackle all of the nuances that were involved with someone like Vic, and this is not any shade against Vic himself, the case may be, was really a lot to go through. But the thing is that we had team members that backed out. We had people that were being harassed online. And again, if it wasn't for Crest coming through with a lot of stuff, I would shudder to think on how KCC 2020 would actually end up. And once again, I have a lot to thank to Crest for that particular aspect of things. And the thing is, at the same time, it's been tough. It's been tough. And but however, we did it, and we're looking forward towards our next event for 2022.
Are you still trying?
Well, this is the thing of the thing. We are going to try. Right now, what I have to do as you Americans like to call event runners or convention runners or whatever the terminology is. Basically, the thing is that I have to rebuild my actual infrastructure, and that starts at volunteers, that starts at staff members, that starts at team members. So I guess I'm going to drop here because I haven't really quite announced this yet. If anyone wishes to work with me with Kitchener Comic Con, they could contact me through Mister Hoppe on Twitter and send me a what's it called? A DM, a private message, a direct message of sorts.
It's something like that. But
so something like that. Those kids and their acronyms. Oh my God.
It's OMG. If you're gonna go with the acronym, it's OMG.
Yeah. WTF, right? But anyways. Exactly. But however, we definitely have several positions to go into play because here's the bottom lines of bottom lines. Does Mister Hoppe, me, want to bring Vic back to Kitchener? And the answer is, of course I do.
Yeah.
Vic is a very sweet, very caring individual. For him to grant me his name as a guest for my event is beyond the pale of things. And the thing is that, but however, before I get Vic back, I have to put my infrastructure in place. Because one of the few things we have up here in Kitchener, it's like, when you do an event, the wheels do come off the wagon. So the trick is, as you're going down the hill at Mach 20, can you put the wheels back on with duct tape and still keep going without anyone skidding out or getting into an accident?
Without
stopping. And the answer is, yes, we can, but we need the right people to work with us on this. And that is key first and foremost, because I don't want to bring Vic back to a broken convention, with things are not working right and wires are coming down from the walls. Like here, and also another great analogy I could use. In my first event, I was working with people for the first time. Everyone knows that KCC has a very small, razor-thin budget to afford stuff. So the thing is that just like putting on a podcast or putting on an event or actually a production of sorts or whatever the case may be, you have to look at different alternative ways to get stuff. That's cool. So the biggest thing that we needed was tables. So I went to a friend of mine named Mike. I said, Mike, we need tables. can you help me with this? Because the thing is that we're looking at the cost of rentals. We're going, what do you mean this is going to cost us $2,000 for a bunch of tables? We're going to cut that back somehow. So Mike goes, hey, I know a catering company that's getting rid of some tables. I went, what? It goes, yeah. I could grab you. How many do you want, Ron? I said, well, can you bag me 10 of them? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm going, all right. So now the next thing you know, I'm a proud owner of 10 tables. No problem. So the thing is, again, where I'm living, I just can't store tables all over the place because it feels like a WWE wrestling ring after that. So the thing is that these were stored over his place, the whole 9 yards. And the thing is, I'm coming to the point of the story. The story is this. We set the tables up. We put the tablecloth down. People start coming in. They start putting their stuff on the tables. It's all in the public. Everything's fine. No problem. Me, I've got like so many irons in the fire. I'm running around trying to get things caught up and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, one of my volunteers comes and says, Mr. Hoppe, there seems to be an issue. I'm going, oh, what's that? What's going on? The tables are leaking. It's like, what? What do you mean the tables are leaking? And the thing is, keep in mind, RJ, I have over 13 years of convention experience at this age of the game. And the thing is that, again, we're working with some of the biggest conventions in Canada. Because as I said before, Edmonton North, Fan Expo, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going, the tables are leaky.
Leaking what?
Well, I'll get to that. I'll leave in suspense just a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, I want that puppy that you had at the beginning at your intro, so leaving more suspense. But anyways, to move forward, I go down there, I check it out, and sure as poop, the tables are leaking water, and I'm going, what the hell is this? And I start looking at it. I'm going, how is this all? And the next thing you know, I notice that all 10 tables are now leaking. And I go to my buddy Mike. I say, Mike. Come here. Talk to me for a second. Where did you store the tables? He goes, oh, I stored them outside my house. And I'm going, what? He's going, yeah. I got them from the caterer company. I put them outside my house. And I'm going, Mike, they're made from chipwood. It's going, yeah, I know. Going, the snow got into the chipwood and it froze, Mike. I have 10 tables that are leaking water. Exactly. They're defrosting. This is biblical messages from God, Mike. Why did you bring this to my event? So that was your one.
Okay. So did you get like big fans or something, or did you just tell people no charge for the water?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. Of course, we charge them for the water because it was biblical acts from God, and I wasn't going to let that slide in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is that's Kitchener Comic Con year one. So how this all ropes together, and I'll be brief because again, we want to talk about other things, is that I have to get the right team members on board for Comic Con 2022 in order to have Vic back because I don't want my tables to leak water.
Of course not. Nobody wants their tables over. All right, so anybody wants to volunteer for Kitchener Comic Con? If you're in the chat, you know somebody in Canada. Harrisonburg, you know a lot of people in that area. Action Toys Channel, welcome. Gabriel Hernandez. Any of you guys know some Canadian folk? Just say, hey, Mister Hoppe needs volunteers for Kitchener Con 2022.
Exactly. Plus, on top of that, we do have things that cross the international border. We're looking for people to help us with our media stuff. We're looking for people to help us with our social media stuff as well. We're looking for people to help us build web pages and stuff like that. Day of the event, kind of difficult to juggle that unless people want to come up to Kitchener and share with me with a beer and pretzels. But however, there's online stuff as well. So
all right.
There we are. And hey, Toys, how you doing?
So when is Kitchener Comic Con 2022? Other than in 2022, I know.
Well, the thing is that we always try to hit the last or the first weekend in March. Reason being, excuse me. Reason being for that is that before the convention season really takes off here in Southern Ontario, which is the crown jewel of Canada, we like to beat the actual rush and have it then. But however, the first step before the date is our location. We're definitely hoping that Kitchener City Hall will be open towards events right now. Some people may or may not know the region itself has been hit with a major coof or kaif. Is it coof?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to be hip like the kids. But long story short, we've been hit with the Delta Plus variant in this region. So a lot of things are slowly to open. So the thing is that until there is like a phase 4, um, it's difficult to book City Hall. But it's always about location, location, location. And City Hall is part of our success strategy moving forward with things. If we have this anywhere else, we're going to need at least 10 VIX to make things work. And that adds the stress of times 20 upon things. So the thing is that right now, what we need to do is build up our team members, our staff members. Then we got to secure location. And then from there, we can start moving forward with things. And as I said before, RJ, we're hoping to bring Vic back. That is our hope. And what do we have here on the bottom here?
Heroin Burke saying, sorry, we don't know anyone in the Kitchener Waterloo area, but we'd love to come up to the con next year. It's only 5 hours. As soon as Canada stops checking vax cards at the border.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is that the whole vaccine thing, that seems to be quite the polarizing conversation, because you got on one hand people going, I don't want to be vaccinated because I don't want to get the cure in me, and we don't know the little robots in there that can track us from Google Space and stuff like that. And you got other people saying, hey, we're in an unprecedented pandemic. We need to look at things from a different perspective. People say, no, you can't give up any ground here in our country. Because as soon as you do, you give into the government, and the government will control you. And it's sort of like, okay. But you do realize this is an ongoing mutated virus that will keep mutating until people get vaccinated. You understand this? I don't want no vaccine from the government. Oh, all right, that's cool.
Well, understand, every time you give the government power, you never get it back.
Well, there is that. But at the same time here, this whole vaccine scenario is really unprecedented. If it was sort of like the Black Plague, at least that only mutated a couple of times. Yeah. But with this thing, sorry, what we got here?
Action Toys channel is selling vaccination cards. So
there you go. There you go.
There's the new market.
Yeah, well, among other things. But the thing is that who knows what it's coming down to. Long story short, everyone who I truly care about, I wish them good health moving forward. If you're going to make serious decisions, make sure that you're making the right decisions moving forward. Don't be afraid. Just look at the bigger picture and do what you think is right. But one of the few things I will tell you is that I've had a couple of friends of mine who's passed away from this.
Yeah.
And while they're on their deathbed, not quite their deathbed, while they're in the hospital, they said, I should have got the vaccine. And they didn't. And because of that, they got sick and they went into an induced coma and they didn't wake up.
Jeez.
And if you have
know somebody who's been there, or know somebody who knows somebody who's been there.
Yeah, exactly. And when this whole thing started, it was like basically 3 steps removed. As time continued on, it was only 2 steps removed. The time continued on, it's just closer and closer and closer. And the thing is that, again, when people start making decisions, make the best decisions, be informed completely what's going on here. Because, again, there's this thing called the Delta variant, which came from India. This thing is mutated so badly, it's called now Delta Plus variant. So the thing is that the variants are having sequels upon themselves. So it's like this is a little bit more than part of the social norm. So just be careful and be well.
What are we going to get, like Delta Plus asterisk? Hashtag Delta Plus?
Well, the way I see it is that all these variants are like wrestlers from WWE, and they're all fighting for the championship and who could be the ultimate, the ultimate dominant variant of them all. And it's like, wow, this is new.
The Deltimate.
Exactly. And the thing is that right now, again, the vast majority of the vaccines are very effective towards all the variants moving forward. So it's not too bad.
Get that base vaccine, and it covers all the changes.
Pretty much for now.
You know who doesn't need to get vaccinated?
Who's that?
Thanagarians.
This is true.
Also, Asgardians.
Yes.
For some reason, I was thinking Hawkman. I don't know.
No, I don't know why either. Isn't he more like Egyptian oriented?
Thanagarians? How are Thanagarians and Asgardians? I don't know. Thanos Guardians. There we go.
There we are. We just
they're-
merged a bunch of them together.
Winged Norsemen. There we we'll portmanteau them together. Had the
Gotcha.
Valkyries. There we go. The Valkyries were winged.
Oh, how can we forget about the Valkyries? a key quintessential point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward. I think all of Phase 4 is based on Valkyries, but I'd be completely wrong, which I think I am.
Well, all of Phase 4 is going to be based on what happened in Loki, right?
Well, I guess that's the ripple effect, because again, 6 whole episodes towards kicking off a whole Phase 4 of things. I don't know, RJ. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this that yours truly wasn't too happy with. The best way I could explain my current position of things is that, do you remember a toy called Play-Doh, RJ?
I remember Play-Doh. Yeah.
Awesome. So what happens when you take about 4 different colors and start mushing them together? Do you remember what happens?
We make brown.
Exactly. Kind of like poop in a way.
Yes.
I really, how can I kick this off? I really think that this story arc should not have been in Loki. I think it's more of a story arc that serves the Fantastic Four a lot better. At least in my opinion. Because the way they kick this off is that this is the Loki from the first Avengers movie. So this is the cool, I'm reflecting on things, understanding things type of Loki. This is the Loki that's basically stabbed, what's his name?
Agent Coulson.
Coulson. Straight through the back into his heart kind of Loki. So this is the bloodthirsty, I will do anything it would take to get my agenda through kind of Loki. Not the 8-year Loki where there's reflection, understanding, character growth, and stuff like that. Because for a villain of that magnitude to basically switch into a more sympathetic, I don't want to say villain, maybe anti-hero perhaps, takes a long time to cultivate and percolate, if you will.
So are you saying now that from minute 1 of Loki, episode 1, that's starting right after Avengers?
That's absolutely correct. So the thing is that we have the starving for power Loki character, not the understanding I got killed by Thanos type like character and look back at my life and said, oops, I really screwed up. Because the thing is that for a character to go through that, they need to be hit hard with consequences and basically through experiences. And you can't really cram that together in one understanding session with another character. It takes time to develop that. Plus, on top of that, the Avengers first draft Loki, if you will, just didn't care about anyone except for himself. That's it. So, he's the villain.
So the next time we see Loki after Avengers, which is going to be in, let me think now, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, isn't it?
I think it's 3.
They haven't done 3 yet.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a little confused, RJ. Maybe it's our broadcasting equipment. What was the full question again?
The next time we see Loki in the movies after Avengers is when Thor is on the spaceship with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think so. I don't know, because we're going over 30 plus movies from that stage of the game, and it all starts blurring together like Play-Doh. So the thing is that oh goodness gracious, yeah, I've never been a major Loki fan. A lot of girlfriends of mine were, and they followed this character through all his different steps and stuff like that. And I can't really remember the second time we see Loki. I want to say Thor 2, because I don't think it's definitely not
in the Dark World. I didn't watch the Dark World, so I don't know.
It's okay. I watched it, but I vaguely remember it just because, again, it starts all blurring together when you make 30 projects in a period of 10 years. It's like, we could keep this stuff super duper straight. So
what I'm wondering though is because the one thing I do know about the Loki show is
Yeah.
that, you know, the plural of Loki is Loki. And there's all different kinds of Loki we start seeing in here, including apparently alligator Loki.
Well, Crocky.
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 Crocodile Loki.
that has absolutely no foothold in any particular lore of things in the comic books, but everyone likes Crocky.
It was
awesome.
Yeah.
We made our second Baby Yoda, Disney. Woo! Break up the champagne. We got stuff we can sell. Quick, grab an alligator. Grab an alligator and start welding and and stapling horns in the thing's head. Sell it for $1,000. Get it out there.
The plushies are on their way.
Exactly. And don't forget about the Loki alligator shirts. Very important.
Yes. But I'm wondering now, is the Loki we see in Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor 2, whichever one it is, an evolved Loki or an alternate Loki?
No, but basically the thing is that we have to look at the very base of things. Where did this character come from? Let's get rid of all the terminology, the variants and this and that other way. Where did this character come from? This character started from Avengers because the Avengers basically captured him. He was outmanned. He was basically going back to Asgard to go to jail, etc., etc., etc. So this is where this Loki comes from. Yeah. So the thing is that this is the Loki we have to work with. But the problem is that, in my opinion, this particular Loki was accelerated to get to the point where Loki of 10 years of development is currently at, which is kind of very quick, if you ask me, for things. So it's like, well, okay.
If there's a time travel show that he's involved in here between things, he could spend a relative 30, 40 years in different time areas and come back to the same moment and be...
He's an Asgardian god. So, that actually easily happened. Like basically, the very first hard pill you have to swallow to enjoy this series is that everyone kind of forgets that Loki is an Asgardian god. He's not two schmucks such as ourselves. And what I mean by that is that if we take a punch to the head, we're going to feel it. But someone punches Loki, especially that particular Loki, and you're mortal, it's not going to connect. You'll connect with the kinetic energy of hitting a wall, but that's going to be about it.
Although I still have two words that have to be applied there. Puny God.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is that's the Incredible Hulk that has unlimited strength, only comparable to his rage. So the thing is that when Incredible Hulk grabs Loki and starts using him as a chew toy, that's funny. That works. But when you have a security guard punch Loki in the head and you have this very slow motion of things and you got the collar whip around him to basically secure the character into the plot, it's like, does that security guard have gamma rays through the system? I don't think they do. And on top of that, Loki's a god. So the thing is that he should be able to handle something as small potato such as someone punching him in the head.
Yeah, he can take a hit.
Exactly. And plus, on top of that, he has a Tesseract with all of this, aka formerly known as the Cosmic Cube.
Yes,
that's right. And remember, kids, the reason why Marvel couldn't use Cosmic Cube is because that's a Fantastic Four idiom. And the thing is that that was at Fox at that point in time, so they had to come up with a new terminology, and that's where the Tesseract comes from.
They sold the terminology Tesseract with Fantastic Four to Fox.
I honestly believe so, because basically, remember, there are four major franchises. And if I screw it up, I apologize in advance. You have the Fantastic Four franchise, you have the Spider-Man franchise, you have the Marvel Mighty Heroes franchise, and then you have the X-Men franchise. Each individual franchises have copyrights and trademarks that are an idiom directly attached to that. And I honestly believe that the terminology Cosmic Cube was attached to the Fantastic Four, because from that's where Galactus comes from, Silver Surfer comes from, a lot of the intergalactic cosmic power stuff comes from as well, which is never mentioned in Spider-Man franchise, X-Men franchise, or the Marvel Heroes franchise.
Although it seems like every Cosmic Cube story I ever read was a Captain America story.
Well, there's definitely that. It was also in, well, wasn't it also Fantastic Four as well?
I don't remember it in a Fantastic Four ever. I'm sure it was. I actually
80 years of pop culture should be something in there.
I'll throw you a curveball. I actually remember the Cosmic Cube, the actual Cosmic Cube, being in a Batman story.
What? Really?
Yes.
How long ago was this?
Early 80s. Oversized edition, Batman versus the Incredible Hulk, when Marvel and DC actually used to be able to play nice.
Gotcha.
And,
is this the Amalgamating publishing company?
No, this is not the Amalgam. This was way before that. This is literal, you know. And when I say oversized, I mean it was like bigger than Time magazine. It was just this.
Yeah. It's the same size as the Howard the Duck special that came out, and those very, very old Star Wars comics that came out too.
Exactly, but it was it was there that I read that we were told the Cosmic Cube is actually an egg, and it you know, Joker was sent to go get it for what the Cosmic Cube becomes, which is the Shaper of Worlds.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so much wonderful romance history with all the comic book stuff as well. It's really difficult to see what starts and what ends, because one of the few things I do remember is after when this is the confusing part. Remember when Captain America was found to be a Hydra agent?
Yes.
I like how you said yes, and you're trying to forget. Very good. I'm glad to see that the 6 steps are working in your favor. Perfect. But anyways, to move forward, I can't remember if that was the beginning when Disney was acquiring Fox Studios, because I'm not quite sure if you remember this or not, but there was a character that puked up a cosmic cube and thus solved the whole problems with Captain America, who was a Hydra agent / Nazi and disappeared and kind of muddled out with the whole series, and never to be talked about.
I was able to accept it because it was caused by a cosmic cube. Somebody rewrote reality. I got it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, total knee-jerk reaction to it. It was like, no, he's always been that.
No,
he wasn't.
Do you remember the media spin on that when they said, well, this is how Captain America is going to be moving forward, and you guys, you fans, you unwashed masses, just have to get used to our new rhetoric. Several months later, we're not buying her comic anymore. Okay, well, you know what? We're changing it. Insert, where's that cube? There it is. Okay, insert cube in story plot problem number 6, and everything's fixed.
Yeah, it's like, and
reboot the universe.
We need a new cosmic cube. What are we going to do? I don't know. We can. How can we make a new cosmic cube? We can, maybe Forge from the X-Men could put one together, out of chewing gum and baling wire in the back of his truck or something.
And we'll get someone just to puke one up for us.
Yeah, it's what they did. Oh, that was the stupidest thing.
Well, the funny thing is, if we look at the medium just for a quick second here and take out nostalgia goggles, comic books are mostly written for kids. This is how it works. Yeah. So the thing is that the problem is that the kids have grown up. They're now in their 30s to their early 50s, and they start following this. So you got to get pretty smart with your plot twists, because if you don't, it's going to look kind of stupid when 2 people like us talk about it like several years later. So it's just silly. But I just don't know either. I just look at Marvel and DC and going, why? Why are we doing this? What's the point? Because it's not about making money. Oh, no. It's not that at all. We basically left that starship a long time ago.
Yeah, it couldn't possibly be about making money, because God knows they're succeeding at that.
Well, it's all the libraries. It's all the libraries, because the libraries will buy anything that Marvel and DC publishes.
Which is the only place you're going to be able to find I Am Not Starfire.
Yeah, well, you just beat that to me by 30 seconds. That's exactly right. Have you seen that train wreck?
I can't get it out of my head, because everyone else is talking, about, the whole, look at her, she's a self-insert. Look at her, she's saying this. Look at her, she's saying that. She's acting this way, she's acting that way. And I'm the whole time sitting there thinking, what the hell is Vogue magazine? Because there's that big friggin' poster in the back that's there the whole time, and it's VOUGE. I'm like, seriously?
I don't know anymore, RJ.
It's like,
I
it's,
really,
and it's
I
like
really don't
it
know.
happens on the same day when we're talking about pet peeves, and somebody was in a conversation. Yeah, my biggest pet peeve is when somebody talks about Rogue and they spell it Rouge, and it's and here's Vouge magazine suddenly on the I Am Not Starfire trail. I'm like,
I just, RJ, I'll share something with you.
I miss comics.
I come from a very wonderful time where diversity was in all comic books.
Yeah,
They were written and they were drawn masterfully. There was this little guy called Jim Shooter that knew what the hell he was doing with a lot of stuff. And the thing is that it all worked. It all came together. Like one of the few things that I was sort of taken in from was I just found out recently that the original Secret Wars crossover was to be based on capitalism toy lines. That's the whole reason behind it. And the thing is, I honestly thought, and I bought into, we're exploring the comic book medium, where we're exploring these characters coming together the first time. We're putting a lot of, but the funny is that wasn't the case. That was a secondary thought, and the primary thought was, can we sell more toys to kids? How can we do that? Take all the popular characters together, smush them together, and make them fight for their lives. Yeah, and we'll make it work. Okay, cool, done.
And exactly. The thing is that Secret Wars came right on the heels of Crisis, and Secret Wars was, like you said, to sell these, they made some.
Can we sell plastic to children? The answer is yes. What form does it take?
And somebody at DC is like, you mean we just did this to tell a good story? We could have been selling plastic. What were we thinking? Why didn't we not have a Crisis on Infinite Earths line? We could. You know how many characters George could have designed for them to sculpt? We'd have made $1 billion.
It just, I don't know. There was mistakes that were made in the 80s and the 90s, but the funny thing is that they failed in comparison to today's time.
Oh.
And the thing is that one of the few things we both share, RJ, is that we truly have a love for this medium. And I'm really seeing this medium really falling apart every single time. The publishers did not listen to the fans when, what was it, Snowflake and Safe Space came out.
At least they didn't come out. At least Marvel didn't publish that book.
Well, I think they did. And I think just like Old Yeller was brought to the woodshed in the back, and someone popped a Desert Eagle round into its head, and it just died there. Hopefully.
Yeah. Because I mean, between Snowflake and Safe Space, and I don't know, grown-up Dora the Explorer and her backpack of infinite holding.
Don't forget about Be Positive.
I don't remember Be Positive. Though.
Oh, Be Positive was one, or was it Be Negative? It's Be Positive or Be Negative. He's basically the living vampire that was among the New Warriors team.
Yeah. He was the only one who looked cool. And then there was the guy who was instant Google because he inhaled some internet gas.
Yep, he was basically the Cyclops ripoff or something like that type of thing.
Yeah,
that Pfizer across his head.
Internet gas. Okay. I mean, this isn't the 1940s where nobody really understood what hard water was, and you can say, "Hey, I inhaled some fumes from hard water and I got super speed." Nobody knew what it was. It was okay.
Exactly.
But everybody kind of knows what the internet is. And as far as I know, well, I used to think that the internet had no gas emissions, but now I find out that, apparently to, cash out my Bitcoin, it takes half of a rainforest to make conversion happen. So maybe there is some internet gas emissions going on now.
I don't know either. I just find the whole thing to be, let me put it to you this way. If Jim Shooter, God bless his soul,
he's still alive.
was still around. Oh, it was Be Negative. There we go. Was still around. And what I mean by still around, like basically being the editor-in-chief of Marvel. Do you think he would let these characters escape a telephone conversation, let alone get off his desk, let alone get in the actual artistic sphere of things where you're actually making character models and laying down comic book sheets about this? No, of course not. So why are we feeding this second, third, fourth hand slop to our kids? Like, I just don't understand this. Like, I don't get it. And before anyone out there can say I don't know what I'm talking about, I used to be a Canadian comic book publisher, and I have a very unique perspective on this type of stuff. And RJ is a publisher as well, and he too has a very unique perspective on this. And the thing is that I would not let ink touch paper over concepts like this unless I was trying to piss somebody off. And at the same time here, if I had the ability to just throw money away, sure. Why not? Why did I put my best foot
Marvel was
forward?
actually trying to do? I think there was a faction at Marvel that was intentionally trying to piss off the readers. Like, hey, look what we're going to give you this time.
Yeah, you're gonna, and you know what? You're gonna like it. You're gonna buy multiple copies. Exactly. And remember, if you don't, this comic book isn't made for you. Well, then, Mr. Smarty Pants, who's it made for? We don't know. It's made for imaginary people online.
It's not made for you, and if it fails because you didn't buy it, it's your fault.
That's right, because you're a troll who lives in your parents' basement. I've been living over the last one plus.
That's the same thing happened with like with the Charlie's Angels movie. Is like it's not made for you, white men. Yeah. And if we failed because you white men wouldn't go see it, you didn't make it for us.
I'm just still feeling the warm glow from that dumpster fire for so many years moving forward. Because don't forget, Birds of Prey was kind of the same thing as well. And it's like, okay. And then Black Widow just came out. Did you hear about Black Widow that just came out as well? Since we're getting really off topic,
I've heard things about it.
Okay, it looks like it looks like Disney sold up Black Widow for $60 million because they released it day of on their streaming platform. And one of the few things of being a movie analyst, because remember, besides being a comic book publisher, I used to be a radio show producer. One of the few things that I noticed that if a movie was going to basically stand strong, it's not when it first comes out. It grows its legs of the second, third, and fourth week. So when you got Black Widow basically being 60% of what its first week take is coming in and being beaten out by Space Jam Volume 2. Someone's skewing some numbers somewhere, I think, because isn't it kind of funny how Disney Plus didn't release this week's haul for Black Widow? And one of the few things, let's just take a little bit of math here. It made $60 million on its first week. Okay, cool. No problem. Yeah. So basically, let's divide it in half. So let's say it makes $30 million. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's still a decent chunk of Disney lunch money, if you know what I mean. But when Disney releases nothing on how much money they made on the second week of release, yikes. And exactly, it's sort of like, hey, is this going to beat Fast 9?
I think Warner Brothers has already learned their lesson. I think they're not going to release on HBO Max anymore after a certain point.
Well, the funny thing is that I one of the few things I've done is that I've been following the Hollywood machine, and this thing's been around for 100+ years. It's been tested, it's been beaten down, it's been beaten up, and the thing is that at its base core, it's really, really simple. But it looked like for a while there, everyone's going, you know what? That thing's been time tested. That movie thing that's been around for 100+ years, the box office, we're going to scrap all of that and do streaming.
Yeah.
Mr. Producer, are you drunk? No. I just drank a whole bottle of Canadian Comfort. I'm okay. Give me the paperwork to sign now, so I got no regrets. When I get sober,
we can charge a person $15 to see it in the theater, or we can charge them $30 to watch it in their house.
I like 30. It's a bigger number.
But sir, there's like 6 or 7.
Give me the paperwork. Get the paperwork. I like 30. It's bigger than 15. Yeah, we spent billions on these productions. We'll sell them off for $1 a piece, just like the Apple Playhouse thing. Yeah. Apple's good. I like apple daiquiris. Where's my CC bottle? now they got sobered up, and they're going, well, it looks like the pandemic is going away. How much did we invest in this streaming shit? Oh, baby Jesus.
When should we cut our losses?
Exactly. We can't. Oh, God damn it. Can we sell it? Pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. because that's what AT&T did with Warner Brothers. They sold Discovery. Pennies on the dollar. All right, we're done. You guys don't know what you're doing. Au revoir. So basically,
yeah. And Warner said, I forget what day it was, but like at a certain date, we're not going to be releasing our movies directly to HBO Max anymore. We're going back to theaters. And
isn't it kind of funny that one of the few things I've noticed in the many years of the quote unquote what we're looking for, the era of streaming, if you will, it's sort of like, hey, there's so many websites out there that have this particular digital file for downloading in different countries where it's not legal or unethical. Watch as much as you want.
Yep.
Okay.
you just tour. You just be anywhere you want to be, and
ta-da!
the movie you want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And there you go.
I know people who a friend of mine has a Fire Stick, and I was, they were leaving for the night and said, "Hey, here's you want to watch Black Widow on my Fire Stick?" I'm like, okay. And it was like it doesn't come out till next Friday, so I don't know how you have it. Like, and I searched, I typed in, and there, of course, it was, the big Scarlett Johansson picture, and it's like Black Widow, the Marvel, blah 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 blah, and you can stream it here, and here, and it's like all these Russian and Chinese sites. I'm like, click. Well, that's Black Widow, but that's not the right one. That's a different Black Widow. It's like there's a lot of movies named Black Widow, and I was like, starting them up, and I saw the Sony logo come up. I'm like, nope, not that one. I saw Paramount. Like, no, it ain't that one. Like, how do you know? I'm like, because if it doesn't start off with the Marvel pages going click, 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 it's not the right one.
No, you're absolutely correct. And the thing is that right now the studios are blaming piracy, but a lot of these studios have forgotten there was this little movie that came out, and what was it, a few months ago, about a monkey beating the snout out of a lizard. And the thing is that there was tons of piracy behind that particular production, I'll be telling you. So the thing is that what's the difference between Black Widow and Godzilla versus King Kong? I'll tell you, people having a good time.
Yeah. People want to see it.
Exactly. They want to see it. And I haven't seen it myself yet, but I've heard that the first two acts are really, really good. And then they go off the rails in Social Justice Warrior Land. And the third act, it all goes down from here. What do we have here?
Harold Burke says that Fast 9 already made its money back. Black Widow hasn't even come close. It's still way in the red. So there's that. Mike Walters, oh, good. You got your internet issues fixed up. Cool. So I know you were kind of popping like Mister Hoppe was earlier before we started our stream. So glad your setup's done there.
Awesome.
And Thought Process. Hello, y'all. Hello, Thought Process.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you out there in the chat. Eventually, we're going to be talking about Loki.
Yes. Oh my God. Sorry. So anyways, long story short, I personally think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in for a lot of trouble. I really, really do.
But I thought the Marvel Cinematic Universe was up for a great and fantastic roller coaster ride because of the impact of Loki and the multiverse. And
wait a second, RJ. When's the last time you took a roller coaster ride?
It's been a long time.
Okay, so you got your ups, and your downs, and your loop de loops, and then more downs. Oh, well, we're in a down period. And at the same time, one of the few things I will earnestly tip my hat to is that there was a movie producing company that managed to be in production for 10 years, made very little flops, if any, depending if you don't count Captain Marvel or not. and basically did, in my opinion, the best job over 30 movies I've ever seen. And the question is, can they keep that momentum going? Because now they're really starting to get into the whole, in my opinion, the internet culture, basically designing projects that are just not for normies, but for a certain demographic audience that does not exist. It does not.
Movies have caught up with the comic books.
Exactly. And that's the unfortunate part, because right now, Kevin Feige, is it Feige or Feige?
I've heard Feige.
Feige, we'll go with Feige. I like frigate. But anyways, with Foggy, long story short, he's in control of everything now. The whole ball of wax. And the smartest thing I think he could do, to be honest with you, and I said this before in an earlier broadcast here, is rehire Jim Shooter and fix the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely fantastic, because whatever they're putting on the plate from the all-you-could-eat, overspoiled Chinese buffet that people seem to be gouging from is going to make people sick, and it's not going to connect well. Because I'll ask you for a number. Do you have any idea how much money the Marvel Cinematic Universe has brought in the last 10 years?
Somewhere over $6 billion.
16 billion.
I had the 6 and I had the billion, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, that is a lot of money. That's basically changing your life. People disappear in ditches type of money, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
As things are set up right now, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Because one of the few things about WandaVision, they're supposed to bring Doctor Strange in to help out Wanda. And they pulled that at the very last minute. Don't know why. They just did. If Doctor Strange would have rolled in, do you have any idea how much the last episode of WandaVision would pop? It would go like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Absolute hotcakes.
And it
As
really
I
would have
mentioned,
set the ball rolling for phase 4.
yeah. And on top of that, I mentioned on your broadcast, the Falcon and Winter Soldier first episode, probably some of the best action sequences I've ever seen in any production ever. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Like, again, I'm fanboying out here a little bit, but I gotta tell you, fantastic.
Well,
Absolutely fantastic.
I wonder if they've got a long-term plan here. I know I'm giving them a lot of credit.
Oh, you are. You are, my dear friend. You really are.
But if you think about the multiverse in Marvel, it really hasn't had much play. It's really been more of a recent development. Now, I know, the Squadron Supreme was in an alternate Earth, so that was sort of a multiversal thing. There was an Earth 2 sort of in Marvel, even though Marvel's 616. But that wasn't alternate dimension. That was like, hey, here's an Earth, here's the sun, and there's an Earth that's on the other side of it. And we never see it because it's always on the other side of the sun, and it's got an evil Reed Richards on it. So there was that. But it seems like they've sort of copied the DC multiverse model, and it seems like they've done it more so ever since DC had that Crisis on Infinite Earths television series, and they're like, hey, look what that did, and hey, look what came out of that. And what came out of that? Interest, for one thing. People tuned in. Second of all, you got to wipe out a bunch of crap and push it all back together in a shape that you don't have to explain all the changes. You don't have to explain why history is different, or why people act different, or why you have a different actor. So it could possibly be that Marvel, cinematically and publication wise, is setting itself up for some sort of a crisis in the Marvel multiverse, to where they can get back down to a, hey, look, we have a streamlined universe of superheroes again. Wouldn't that be nice? That
would be nice. And in my fantasy world, I would roll with that. I would sprinkle in a lot of Jim Shooter behind that too.
Yeah. What'll happen is it'll be Eternity invites all the superheroes up to the moon, and they have a big dinner.
Well, the thing, oh God, when I heard about that, I went, "You have to be kidding me!"
Yes. They just eat dinner. They eat dinner and they dance.
That's right, and they all wear new high-end costumes that will only be used once.
Oh, they all wear dresses. All of them wear dresses. Every single one of them wears a dress.
Do you know what my favorite graphic novel / comic book arc was when I was younger? It's called A Children's Crusade, illustrated mostly by Arthur Adams. And I forget about the writer, the same person who wrote Long Shot. Again, sorry, it's the brain bubble playing havoc on my brain. I read this graphic when it came out in graphic novel format. I read this so much, I went to the front and the back cover fell off. I bought a second copy, the exact same thing, because I kept reading over this thing, kept studying this, and it absolutely captivated me. In my older years, comic books don't do that anymore for me.
No.
And the thing is, it's a shame that kids are not going through that themselves. And it's this is the thing that drives me nuts. I could understand the aspects of representation in pulp culture. I could get that.
Sure.
But the thing is that you and I have both been through that already. And you and I have been through that in the smallest magical auspices of good writing and good storytelling and good acting if you're watching a movie. That's how you make that work. You don't make a character gay for the sake of making the character gay so it could be shoehorned in.
Exactly.
You write the story around it. You make it work. And this is what Marvel and DC are failing to do. And I don't know why.
I still think there's a story that can be done where, we explain why Jean Grey is messing with everybody's sexual identities, and that she's actually she is the one responsible for turning Iceman gay. We saw it happen on panel.
Or did we? Dun dun dun. Are we
could explain why? She could have been the one who pushed Kitty Pryde into becoming bisexual. She's obviously, the center of attention between Wolverine and Cyclops, and has been for years. She's like, well, if I can't have one or the other of you, maybe I can have both of you if you would just get along magically.
I will use the Phoenix power and merge you into one character.
Well, no, but now they're just sharing adjoining bedrooms. Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey share adjoining bedrooms, and it's
yeah. And you know the best thing about this, RJ, did that ever really come up in the 80s at all?
No. Oh, no. In the 80s, it was just a love triangle.
And you're ready for this? So what do we call that, RJ? What do we call that?
We call it good writing.
Yeah, there you go. Ding, ding. Got it in one. So the thing is that in our time, it didn't matter what happened in people's private rooms under the sheets. Why? Because the galaxy itself what was in peril, and it needed help. And good people stepped up, regardless of race, creed, sexual orientation, to fix the problem at hand.
Yeah, and I think the first time I saw anybody having a sex life, I remember seeing Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris on a camping trip, and she's wearing a long shirt and he's wearing matching pants with no shirt. I'm like, oh,
there we are.
But I kind of let that one slide because they were adults. Of course they were adults, so that happens. It didn't really hit me though until Teen Titans #1, the Baxter printing, when the alarm bells are going off and everybody's screaming and they're getting out of bed, and there's this, you turn the page and here's the big top panel with Dick and Corey sitting up in the same bed. I'm like, what?
Which brings me to the other point of I'm not Starfire. Who's the father and where is the daddy?
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Starfire is a player. She plays a lot. This has been going on for the last 30 to 40 years.
She won
only one love child. That's amazing, RJ. That's absolutely amazing.
She wanted to learn how to speak Philadelphian. She gave him a kiss. It went a little farther, and because that's how she learns how to speak. She learns how to speak new languages by kissing somebody.
There you go, and that's how Little Not Starfire was born, through kissing. Right.
Yes.
So what was it?
That's how little dump Starfire was born that way.
Yeah, little dumpster fire Starfire. Yes.
Yeah. You know where?
Why are they doing this to us, RJ? Why are we giving them free advertising? My God. We're telling everyone not to buy this book, but we've been talking about it. How many minutes have we been talking about this so far? What, an hour?
An hour and 9 minutes.
An hour and 9 minutes. You know how much I charge
talking about advertising Loki and talking about I'm Not Starfire.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what, folks? You know what? Let's switch back to Loki.
Well, tell me,
because we had people who've been waiting for an hour to hear us talk about this particular production, and we're going to lead them down the wrong garden path with a whole bunch of other happiness pop culture stuff.
Why does Owen Wilson?
Why we have false advertising? What's that?
Why does Owen Wilson take Loki to the time variant agency? He's like, we're going to lock you up here where we have millions of ways to get out, and we're going to put you to work for us.
I personally think that aspect in the first episode was very funny and very cool. Because again, you have Owen, you got these two wonderful characters that no one really met, playing chess with each other and stuff like that, upscaling the other person. Great chemistry. Absolutely great chemistry. But kind of after episode 2, before I get into that, what's this here?
Oh, this is Mike Walters, who, by the way, has been on our open mic night, but just about every night since you talked to us about Captain America and Winter Soldier. So,
Yeah.
You got us hooked up together to talk every Sunday night. Just goes to show how times change. When originally Batwoman and Batgirl were created to dispel the myth that Batman and Robin were gay, and now Batwoman is a lesbian.
Yeah.
But yes, Loki, chess.
Loki, yeah, there we go. It was great chemistry between the two actors and the two characters. Absolutely fantastic. But the thing is that when episode 2 came, so like, now we're gonna do what's her name? Susan, whatever her name is from.
I didn't watch it. Remember?
It's okay. Basically, it was the variant of Loki, and when I saw how badly they sort of screwed the pooch in this one, I went, "This is not good," because basically, what they did is they took the Enchantress character and they took the female Loki character and just kind of smushed them together. I said, "Here you go. There you go. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the thing is, at the same time in the comic book lore, the Enchantress, if I'm not mistaken, the first one was created by Loki and powers and comic magic and stuff like that, and that worked. The problem that I'm having with a lot of the new Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward is that they're just mushing ideas together, and they don't understand that they need to start at the base and then work forward from there. Because I was looking forward towards the female Loki character, because again, I thought it'd be kind of cool to see in the flesh, if you will, but they never delivered it. And basically, they hid behind the concept of these are variants, and variants can be any shapes, any sizes, this and this. But again, what's going on here is a lot of the stuff is simply off model. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it takes a lot to write these characters together. And if you're going to take a character and you're going to play around with it as much as they did, you better have a damn good story behind it. And they didn't, because basically, female Loki, Susan, whatever her name is, because again, I just can't remember.
Susan Loki's daughter.
Sure.
Well, because his name is Loki, Loki's because that's how Norse names go. You know, he was the son of Loki. She was the daughter of Loki. And
are you ready for this? They never touched on that. It's like here's female Loki as a child, and she was a variant, and then basically the TVA came in and just took her and deleted her from her timeline, and that was that. And she magically this is the part that drives me nuts. Okay, they sucker punched Loki and put in the actual space collar around him to control the character. Very, very lame. But from a writing perspective, slightly kind of not really understandable. Cool. Got it. We need to push this story somehow, and that's what we're going to do. But however, remember, friends, Loki is full grown at the stage of the game. And the thing is, Loki is not a schmuck who lives in New York. He's a Norse god.
Yes.
That a mortal just punched him in the face, and he took it like a
He's been around 1,700 years.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're going to punch him in a stick, and it's like Mike Tyson punching a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. Sorry, it's not. But it did, because the story had to continue somehow. Okay, cool. We circle that. We come back to that. Young female Loki, at the tender age of 6, gets away from the TVA by stomping on the foot of the guard who she's with, steals a device, manages to figure it out, opens a time portal, and gets away from that. Comics.
Yes.
Badly written, on Jim Shooter edited comics.
Here's an escape pod droid getting allowed in.
Exactly. And on top of that, in the first episode, they show that TVA takes no crap from anything, to the point when they're sort of like, the story is showing the world to the audience for the first time, and you got this whole Men in Black TVA explaining the timeline and stuff like that going on, which was good. I'll give it a full 4 out of 5 with that.
Yeah.
No problem.
But the thing is, we've seen Legends of Tomorrow, so
yeah, exactly. But however, that off the side, there is a sequence where a variant is basically melting back to one of the guards over something as simple as having a ticket, and the guy goes, "I don't need a ticket. There's no one else me here except for me and that guy. I'm next." Blah 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 blah. And then the guard himself basically prunes / kills the character like that over something small as that. Oh. So the funny thing is that if you're a TVA agent, and a small child stamps on your foot, steals your device, manages to figure out how it works, makes a magical portal and jumps through it, aren't you going to prune that little SOB in 8.2 seconds? And the answer is yes, you will. The thing is, I never did that. And I went, all right, this is bad writing again. This is horribly, horribly bad writing. And I said before, this Loki is the bloodthirsty Loki, the one who doesn't really has learned from over 10 years of Marvel Cinematic Universe experiences. And he lets the female Loki, Sylvia, or whatever her name is, I'm going to keep screwing her name on purpose, by the way, moving forward, lets her stab him in the back. No, not this version of Loki. They went off. Oh, well, the thing is that this is the funny part. They were trying to explain why Loki is making these steps, why Loki is doing what he's doing. And when it came down to it, Loki had feelings with his variant. Loki were trying to fall in love. Loki was trying to trust somebody else outside of himself and basically move forward. Wait a second. And move forward in a positive aspect of things, where he could be happy with somebody else, and blah 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 blah. And basically, when it comes down to it, that is not the bloodthirsty Loki. That Loki would look at any small deviant that's falling off the path and say, "This does not suit my goals," and flush him down the toilet. That's how that Loki works. Like, this is the same Loki. I believe, was it in? No, I forget what movie it was, because it's just so many of them. Sorry, RJ. Where he made a whole crowd of humans bow.
Yeah, that was Avengers.
Like, that is that Loki.
Yeah,
not the Loki he got choked up by Thanos. So the thing is that for a character like that, even if he's going through questioning his existence, where he's coming from, something like that, we'll still have those particular motivations firmly installed in his person at a point in time, and they didn't do any of that. This Loki, as soon as someone's looked at him sideways, as soon as the opportunity presented itself, should be stabbing in the back, throw them in the closet, put a blanket over their head, and that's it. That's how that Loki should have worked, and they didn't do that because they had an agenda. It's exactly what's happening in the comics that a lot of other YouTube comic gate people talk about. It's like women getting together, regardless of good or bad, because they're simply women. There's a sequence where female Loki is working with one of the other TVA people, and the reason why they're getting together is because they're women.
Oh, and they're best friends automatically.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that as soon as one person backstabs the other person, back to the pacing of the production, which is like, and on top of that, we're talking about a person, a character that is so hard driven, she wouldn't give these people an inch, not an inch at all. It's like, you're pruned, you're pruned, you're pruned. But that's what they say. Yeah, that says, and you're done. It's like, no. And then it just goes on from there. It's just,
but everything's forgiven because I heard we got Frog Thor.
Well, the thing that the Frog Thor thing was like, oh God, it was less than 10 seconds.
Throg? Or
that's the funny part, RJ. I know you like Throg. I like Throg too. It's basically built in my comic book DNA when I was a kid. But the thing is that how they show this is the dumb part, okay? Anything that gets pruned from a timeline goes to this magical place, which is the end of time. And the thing is that they had this this pan that was going from the surface down to where all other Lokis were. So
Right.
basically, it's this pan that goes type of thing, and then within this pan thing, going from the surface to below where the bunker is, you saw all the junk that's in between stuff. In a very quick cut, they have Mjolnir there, and a frog in a jar, and the frog is jumping, trying to get to the hammer. But the problem is that it's underground, and it pans that quickly.
Yeah,
and that's it. So the thing is, it's like, see, the biggest thing I didn't like about this production, and I'll be honest with you, a little blast from my behalf, this six episode production was made for nerds. What I mean by that is every scene had that. Oh, did you see that one Easter egg in the background? Did you see that one detail? Oh, did you see that? Oh, well, this detail that leads back to this comic book. A113 is basically Avengers 113, and that's where this reference comes from. I'm going, all right, hold on here. We're sacrificing Easter eggs for good storytelling.
Yes.
Cool.
That's what's happening.
Thanks. Yeah. And the thing is that this was so grossly overdone. Every YouTube, not quite everyone, but the ones that I follow, we're just talking about the Easter eggs constantly. And it's like, oh, did you see this? There's like, in the last sequence, there's like 4 statues, but one of the statues is broken. And that's a reference to this comic, blah, 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 blah. It's like, aren't we going to talk about the actor's performance in this and the writing aspect behind it? No, we're going to focus on the Easter eggs. Oh, my God. And the thing is, New Rockstars was doing this hardcore. Everyone else Nerdist was doing this hardcore. And it's like, they were prostitutes for advertisements. Because the thing is that they never looked and said, let's critically look at this. These characters' motivations are completely wrong. There's not enough meat on the bone here to actually change these characters' trajectory when it comes down to this new line of thinking. And this is extremely rushed. This is extremely hurried. And the thing is that just like the cinematic universe, they have their certain benchmarks of advertising they want to put forward with things. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's important is you had Tom Hiddleston playing Loki charmingly and
yes,
making everyone think, oh, I love this character. I mean, you want to break the internet. You literally want to break the internet. Put Tom Hiddleston and Tom Ellis in something together.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
It'd be if you get Loki for going, it would.
Yeah, and the other thing I didn't like as well is that I almost rage quit this particular series after episode 4, because what happened was that in episode 4, everyone dies. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then we find out that the pruning thing isn't really a self-destructing, destroying a character down their atom. It's like, oh, they get magically teleported to this other place. It's like, cop out. Yeah. And it's just horrible.
Well, I figured it's like time travel, and as long as there's one person, they can go back and fix something, I guess. But
well, the big thing is with episode 3, which was ready for this, 6 episodes, RJ, and they threw away episode 3 as a filler episode. And the thing that drove me nuts is that this whole time traveling thing, in my opinion, should have stayed on Earth, but they took it to a whole other planet that as a fan, I couldn't give a flying flip about. Not at all. It was absolutely rubbish. And the whole thing behind this, remember in Thor, when he's drinking coffee for the first time, he goes, oh, this is a good drink. Psh, another. Basically, this whole episode was to steal that scene back to Loki. That's what the whole episode was about.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is that it was horribly put together. It was basically, imagine a good Doctor Who episode. That's what this was. So the thing is that you have all these wonderful new things coming down the pipes. You have a nice merging of Men in Black meets the cinematic universe and coming together. And now we throw Doctor Who around that. Like, one of the few things that I'll share with you and the people who are watching is that I like stories that involve time travel. Slaughterhouse-5, Back to the Future, you call it, I like it. When I find out that the movie itself is not heeding to its own rules, then we have problems.
Yeah.
And the thing is that what's happening here is that, again, what Marvel's going to have a major problem with moving forward is adhering to its own rules. It's sort of like, oh, this person dies. We'll just hop to a different timeline and grab what we need and just come back to the main timeline.
Why not? Sure.
Oh, okay.
Now that we're time traveling in Endgame and such, sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So like, okay, we killed the big bad Thanos in the first 15 minutes. We aimed for the head, chopped the character's head off, and it's done. No problem. Oh, wait a minute! End of Endgame, we're bringing Thanos back as a variant from a. This is the funny thing: they never said it's the same timeline or a different timeline. They just said Thanos from the past, and we're bringing that character back in. And the thing is that now the question is, where does this Thanos come from? They never explained it, and if they did, I've completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, because if he was from the past, then the one in the present would know that he came from the past before.
Well, yeah, exactly. And what happened? Yeah, and the thing is that, but however, they never explain, never heed their own rules because it's time travel. It's usually one timeline, not all these different branches coming off of it, type of thing. And if it is, you're now interfering a whole different timeline. And the TVA, to be honest with you, should have gotten involved with that a lot sooner. It should have been like, how can I explain this? Remember, is it Monty Python, The Meaning of Life? No, it's a Holy Grail. It's the Holy Grail. Remember the last 15 minutes of Holy Grail, RJ?
Yeah.
But the basic thing is you got this very heavy, very rich fantasy production happening, and then little by little, cops start showing up, measuring things up, and at the end, all these cops show up, start arresting Arthur and his knights and stuff like that, so forth, etc. That should have been something that should have been an end game if you're going to introduce the TVA. It should have been.
I agree. So before I wrap things up here, because I got to cut things off here in just a minute. Biggest villain in Loki or Miss Minutes?
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes is the bigger villain. She's a cartoon clock.
That's the funny part. We don't really know that, especially in the last episode. The biggest letdown is He Who Remains merges with Kang, the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror.
Basically merges with He Who Remains. Two different characters, two different things. They just had to mush the whole thing together. And basically, the actor who played that did unfortunately, the thing is, it's not the actor's fault. Just because the thing is that he was directed by the director and how he should act and how he should do this, so forth, and etc. But in this case, when it comes down to it, and essentially, Jonathan Majors was basically told on what he needed to do to make this character work. And the thing is that if you one of the few things I asked you, if you knew anything about Kang the Conqueror, and you said you know a little bit. Did Kang the Conqueror ever come across as the Joker from The Dark Knight? Ever?
No.
No. But the thing is that this is how Kang the Conqueror was predicted in this one, because he's old giddy, because these two characters showed up and they're supposed to do this and they're supposed to do that. And it's like, talk about cramming everything in an hour.
Yeah. Now, Kang the Conqueror is stoic. He stands with his hands clasped behind his back and he just looks at you.
Exactly.
And things happen. And that's Kang the Conqueror in a nutshell.
Yeah. The thing is that this is completely off model. And it was, in my opinion, the kids don't know this, absolutely horrible. As I said before, it's taking 4 different colors of Play-Doh and mushing it together and saying, look, we made something nice out of poop you did, child. and the thing is that it's just really unfortunate because these actors have the ability to produce really, really good, deep stuff. But in this particular production, they didn't. And getting back to our earlier conversation, if this is a setup for the new, phase 4 or phase 5 for Marvel Universe moving forward, they're really in a lot of trouble. And one of the few things we talked about before is that I used to have a saying, in Feige we trust. But the thing is that look what happened in Captain Marvel. They shoehorned the snot of that movie and they made the rest of the stuff look absolutely ridiculous, to be polite.
Yeah. I've seen the trailer for What If, and I am completely unimpressed. First of all, the animation sucks.
Well, the thing is that regardless of the animation, what made What If worked was that it was in comic book format. And the thing is that it was basically a test bit. If we go in this direction, what would the fans think? And that's my opinion. What ifs were about.
And more than that, what if was taking something that happened and said, "Here's a decision point. What if this decision point went the other way?"
Exactly.
And telling that story. What if the show is like, hey, what if Howard the Duck had showed up instead of Spider-Man in Civil War? I was like, wow, that's not a decision. That's not a juncture that could have changed anything.
Yeah. And at the same time, when you have a cinematic universe, do we really need a what if series?
No, we didn't.
No, we don't.
It's going to mean nothing unless it really means something, in which case then they better let people know, hey, you need to see what if, because it's going to, one of the what ifs is going to be a happens now kind of thing. Yeah. It's going to go from what if to it is.
And so RJ, what's needed for phase 4 of this Marvel Cinematic Universe beyond everything else?
Mutants and scientists.
Well, there's that. I was going to boil that down to something a little more basic, which is simply good writing.
Oh, well, yeah. We're going to need some good writing.
The thing is, and I don't think we're going to get that.
No,
I don't think it's going to be. I'll be surprised if Marvel survives phase 4 and they go into phase 5. I truly hope they learn the lessons from this and move forward. But the thing is that I know the House of Mouse, and I know how they take over things, and I know how they throw people under the bus with the very spiky tires if stuff doesn't work out well. Right now,
the House of Mouse knows how to tell stories. They've done it for 80 years.
They did up until the 80s. I would almost say after a little production called The Black Hole, they kind of lost track on how to put things together since then. They had a great renaissance of their animation wing. What's that?
You're going a deep cut there, Black Hole.
Oh, yeah. One of the few things I tell my very, very young friends that, hey, you want to watch a cool Disney movie? They go, there's no such thing. I go, yeah, there is. Go watch The Black Hole and keep an eye on the ending, on how the bad guy gets his come up at the end.
Oh, now I've got to go back and watch it again, too. You're making me nostalgic. Mr. Hoppe, I'm going to have to cut things off. I've got to wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming in, kind of sort of talking about Loki.
Wait a second. RJ, I'm going to interrupt you. You didn't ask me for my rating on this particular production.
Well, please do. What is your rating on Loki?
My rating is 1 out of 4.
1 out of 4. That is that's low.
Yep. It's very, very low for Loki. Should have been a lot better. They had all the right elements in place, and they just couldn't pull the trigger properly.
And they have a big star from the series headlining a television show, basically.
They have a lot of incredible talent behind this. It just didn't deliver. It stalled out after the trailer and the first episode. And the thing is that it's been signed for a second season. I don't know why, because this whole thing is nothing but a giant advertising tool for the universe of madness, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
The multiverse of
the multiverse of madness. That's right. That's
the next Doctor Strange film. All right, Mr. Hoppe, thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your opinions on this and other things that were fun to talk about. Need to have you back very, very soon again.
Yep.
Everyone in the chat, so grateful you showed up for the show. We don't have a show without you, so we're glad to have you here. And as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, guys.